What's going on, my fellow A-Plusers? It is I, your host as always, Adam Perez, back once again with a brand new review for you guys today, as we're going to be doing our inaugural episode review for Moon Knight. That's right, episode number 1 just dropped over on Disney Plus for you guys. If you've had the opportunity to check it out, it drops every Wednesday. It is Thursday. I am in fact recording this for you guys as of right now in regards to the release schedule for our Moon Knight reviews, because yes, we will be doing Moon Knight reviews. So if you are looking for a home for it, hit that subscribe button, guys, so you can make sure that you definitely get all of our videos. But if anything, I'm probably going to try and drop them Thursday morning or Thursday afternoon, I should say. I'm going to try and do maybe a live review on Thursday afternoons on my lunch break, if you will. If not, then I will probably go ahead and drop it pre-recorded later on Thursdays for you guys. So just to give you guys about a day or so to go ahead and check out the episode. Although I'm pretty sure some of you are probably staying up to like 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning to go ahead and watch the episode as soon as it drops. However you certainly prefer to go ahead and check it out. But let's go ahead and talk about Moon Knight here, episode 1, starring Oscar Isaac along with Ethan Hawke in here. And man, talk about getting these two powerhouses together. I'm so thankful that Oscar Isaac really approached Ethan. From some of the interviews that I've read, Ethan was pretty hesitant in regards to maybe jumping into something along the comic book genre sort of thing, and was really somebody like Oscar Isaac that kind of opened his eyes or really pleaded with him. I think Oscar even mentioned the idea of like, don't read the script, or or something along those lines, right? Like really taking a chance and putting his mark on this show. And I'm really glad that they both decided to go ahead and step up and be in this series, because you can just see their performances, their powerhouse performances in here. Great introductions, honestly, to both of their characters. Ethan Hawke playing Arthur Harrow, I believe his name is, and then you also got Oscar Isaac in here playing Stephen Grant. Although we quickly come to find out that there certainly are multiple personalities with him. So I gotta say, man, right off the bat, this very first episode, loved it. The mystery definitely had me intrigued. The pacing I thought was fantastic, along with the tone in here. And honestly, I think what really pushes this over the top for me was probably the editing work and even some of the directorial decisions in here in regards to piecing this episode together. You know, the idea of dealing with multiple personalities, I think the editing work does a really good job of showcasing that, right? Sometimes the very quick cuts into the very next scenes where we get to see the opportunity of Stephen being utterly surprised as to where he certainly might pop up next, right? So I love the way that it's kind of showcased in this episode, whether it be, the quick cuts to a completely different scene, or where we see Stephen kind of falling back into his personality before another one emerges, just to kind of quick cuts, if you will, when we're getting to the big sort of action crescendo moments, and then seeing sort of the aftermath of everything that certainly happened. I thought they did a really good job of that in the car chase scene. I thought was pretty cool, waking up to Stephen in a completely different country with what it looks to be like his jaw broken sort of thing. I thought that was pretty neat, and even getting the opportunity to see him like pop up on the bus later on in the episode sort of thing, completely randomly. So I thought they did a pretty good job, especially the scene when he's in the country and the gentleman's trying to get the scarab from him, and the people start escorting him away, and just as they're about to pull the scarab from him, it cuts, and when we come back, I mean, it's just a bloody mess. I mean, just bodies in the middle of the street sort of thing. Definitely a very jaw-dropping moment for me that I certainly did not expect to see, and Disney and the Marvel Studios is not pulling the punches when it comes to its blood. I mean, Oscar Isaac's hands was just completely covered in it, really opening the door for that sort of mature rating, if you will, and thus hopefully opening up a completely new door to the MCU in regards to some of the characters that we're going to be getting, whether that be Blade, whether that be Werewolf by Night, just even maybe some of the Netflix series that wind up getting brought back over, if we dive into like a Daredevil or a Punisher, right? Those Marvel Knight sort of type of characters sort of thing. I think hopefully we'll get some justice now that we're getting opportunity to see. Marvel's definitely not afraid to pull or not pull some of their punches, to say the least. No cursing. I don't believe we have any big F-bombs, but I think it's more maybe violence, if you will. Hopefully in the next couple of episodes, we'll definitely get to see a little bit more of Moon Knight, who was just kind of teased towards the end. The amount of Moon Knight that we see in this episode is very much equivalent to what we've seen in the trailer so far. So nothing new in regards to that, but a really great start in regards to at least building the character of Stephen Grant and the mystery in here. Because trust me when I say, the fact alone that we come into this episode or into this show, it doesn't feel like an origin story for me so much, because of the fact that Steven's already struggling with his multiple personalities, right? The fact that when we go into this episode, he's already got like the chain on the banister of his bed to keep him from going out. Homeboy's got sand around his bed, the locks on his doors and stuff, right? So he's fully aware that something's happening to him. So as a viewer, it feels like we're very much thrusted into the middle of this guy's life when he already has things certainly going on for him, right? It's not like this is a case of Steven, well, it does make me wonder, did he know he had multiple personalities before this particular moment? We'll definitely have to see. But, the idea of having a date already set up for himself over at work was pretty interesting. I am fascinated in the idea that he keeps trying to contact his mother and not being able to get a hold of her, right? He's been leaving messages after messages and stuff. I do wonder if there's something that has taken place that Steven isn't even fully aware of as of yet. So I do think that things, as we go through this show, will continue to reveal themselves, hopefully fill in some of the blanks in here. But great stuff for the first time out, and really great filmmaking. So kudos to the director and the writer of this series so far. I'm actually really enjoying the very first episode. Couple things in here. Oscar Isaac's performance as Stephen Grant really works for me. I really enjoy his British accent when he's doing the counterpart to himself in Mark Spector. Definitely feels a little bit more natural. Oscar Isaac, who I'm assuming, if anything, is the assassin or the mercenary aspect of him, if you will. Because he seems like he's very well trained if he's able to take care of himself anytime he takes over in Steven's body, sort of thing. So I really love seeing the range that we have here with Oscar Isaac. He's just an incredible actor, to be honest with you, to be able to pull off this British accent and honestly get me personally feel very sad and sympathetic for somebody like Steven. Like I don't have multiple personalities or anything like that, but I can't imagine the idea of lost time or knowing that you're not in control of your body or anything like that, to just kind of wake up randomly in any shape that your body certainly might be in, right? Like I think Steven, when talking to somebody, I believe he's talking to one of the gentlemen outside at night. If I'm not mistaken, I believe it's like one of the statues or whoever's presented like over at the park that he likes to go to. The fact that he says that his body feels like it has to get up and walk like the extra 10,000 steps that he needs to track for himself or something like that, right? Like he feels like there's more that his body has to do, which is why he locks himself in at night. Mentions the idea that he tries to stay awake and not fall asleep, sort of thing. So I got to assume that probably has to really not only take a toll on him mentally, but also physically as well, just being exhausted, maybe not feeling like you're getting enough sleep, walking around sort of zombified, if you will, and just a lot of uncertainty. And I love the moment in here, while you can clearly see that Steven is concerned and worried about what's going on with him, it doesn't really sort of connect with him until he realizes the days have gone by, right? Like when he takes his trip overseas and somehow winds up coming back, I'm kind of under the impression at first that maybe it's just a day trip, right? He winds up waking back up in his bed. He clearly thinks it's a dream, but when he comes to find out that he not only missed his date, but by 2 days also, just that reaction by Oscar Isaac as Steven, to really feel like this man has just gotten to his lowest, just really uncertain as to what's going on in his life, but clearly knowing that something is certainly wrong. So I really did love the performance that Oscar wind up giving here as Steven, just that jittery, uncertain, very frightened sort of thing, especially when you don't know what's going on and you've got people trying to talk to you, trying to address you, trying to kill you, sort of thing. It's it's absolutely pure mayhem. But I absolutely love seeing his performance in regards to Steven, and just seeing just the toll that it's definitely sort of taken on him mentally. And I really did feel for his character in this episode. I truly did. But when we do see him discover not only the phone in his secret compartment in his apartment, he gets to talk to somebody. I can't remember the lady's name that was on his phone when he actually tried to contact them as well. But this is when Mark Spector starts kind of getting in his ear, and I am kind of curious as to who some of the voiceovers are. The mummified gentleman that we see out in the other country, that's kind of hanging out behind Oscar Isaac. You hear the voices in his head while he's hanging out in the field, sort of thing. I do wonder whose voice that is that he's hearing. I'm assuming it's the God entity that's assuming is speaking to him, but I do wonder who's that voice. For some reason it feels like a digitized Liam Neeson or something like that. So I don't know if Liam Neeson surprisingly did a voice in here, or maybe they took Oscar Isaac's voice and they messed around with it a little bit more. So you do see Steven hearing some voices from that God entity, I got to assume, and as well from the Mark character that we get to see speaking with him, not only in his apartment, but I believe also in the bathroom towards the end as well. So Oscar Isaac, great choice, MCU, incredible pickup by the Marvel Studios, honestly. Another top tier actor in the MCU who has clearly gotten their hands on an amazing script and a brand new character in here. So, kudos to MCU for continuing to have incredible talent attached. And then we definitely have to talk a little bit about Ethan Hawke in here. Playing Arthur is incredible. Apparently, from some of the interviews that I've read, they really gave Ethan a lot of leash in regards to truly developing the character his way, in regards to kind of presenting him. And you want to talk about a great intro in here for his character, in regards to seeing him not only take a drink, but also break the glass cup that he was certainly using, and then sprinkling them in his sort of in his sandals to walk around with it. It feels very much like a cult leader or like a religious zealot sort of thing that kind of wants to kind of maybe experience the pain that maybe some of his ancestors, or his spiritual leaders, or the people that he spiritually connects with might have gone through certainly in their lives, to kind of showcase some sort of sacrifice or something that they're doing, right, to burden the weight of their abilities or whatever it is that they're certainly doing. Very pariah-like, it feels like to me. So I really enjoy sort of that cultist kind of mentality, because Homeboy definitely has some followers to him, but also to go ahead and see the abilities that he has of judging people, if you will. I mean, he does bring up an Egyptian god, I believe, by the name of Amut. I'm personally not familiar with it, but from what I can kind of tell, it seems very much like this Egyptian god was very much a judger of people, maybe even before they committed the sins that they certainly did, right? Because he emphasized the idea, like, if Amat was, around in our particular lifetime, Hitler probably wouldn't have been born, or would have been stopped a lot earlier, sort of thing, right? So, and we get to see him expressing that judgment in this town in this episode, as he's grabbing the hands of people who have the courage, if you will, to be prejudged, knowing that this guy can either let you live or sort of take your soul and let you die, sort of thing, in a sense of a sacrifice of you being judged before the time of, I'm assuming, the return of Amut. I have no idea exactly what his full plan certainly is, but I do find it rather appealing and very interesting in regards to that of villain. So when we see Ethan Hawke's character as Arthur, talking to these people, trying to find Steven, being in his face, even judging him, I do find it fascinating that they did not allow us to see what the results of Steven's judgment certainly was. All we see Arthur mention is that he's filled with chaos. What does that mean? I don't know. We've seen two different results from the weights on the tattoos of his arms. I do wonder if maybe there's a third option that we have yet to kind of see, where maybe the other side is weighted a little bit more heavily. I'm not quite sure, but it should be fascinating to see. I would assume, if anything, his results will eventually sort of be revealed. Quick honorable mentions though. Shout out to Donna as Steven's boss. What a bitch, man. Like, but you know who she does kind of remind me of a little bit? She does kind of remind me of Donna from Doctor Who. Somebody who has a very strong personality, can be rather insulting and kind of push back sort of thing, and be a little bit of a loudmouth from time to time. That's exactly who she kind of reminds me of. So this Donna reminds me of another British television show, Donna from Doctor Who. So yeah, if you guys know the reference, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And then one of my favorite scenes in here, as we get to the chase scene in the middle of the country, the little middle finger by the old lady, I thought was great, as she has a big old grin on her face as Steven's trying to drive by. I am kind of curious as to what country that was that Steven was in. For some reason, and I don't know, maybe I'm just reaching here, for some reason, I don't know why I got like Latveria vibes for some reason. You know, when we see him running in the field, in the distance, you see what looks to be like a gigantic castle, like on the side of like a mountain or something, or just, you know, on the side of a hill sort of thing. For some reason, I get Latveria, like Dr. Doom's castle or something like that, wherever, you know, Victor Von Doom certainly might live. And then I've always known that castle to literally be on the outskirts of a town also. So when I look at it, for some reason, the first thing that came to mind was Latveria. I could be wrong, and maybe they referenced it in the episode and I missed it, or maybe we'll get reference of it later on. But what do you guys think? Where do you think Steven certainly popped up? But overall, I really enjoyed it, man. Again, I thought the tone was great. I really loved the mental break that we get to see from Steven in here. The editing really worked fantastically well to really present the multiple personalities. I do wish we had a little bit more Moon Knight, but again, the amount that we saw was certainly in the trailers also, but I'm sure we'll see plenty as the season certainly progresses. But a great starting off point to really establish these characters and the story that we have in store. But what do you guys think? Remember, at the end of the day, these are just my A+ opinions. I always want to know yours, so let your thoughts be known in the live chat or the comment section box below, guys, as it certainly goes a long way for our algorithm. So let's go ahead and continue this discussion throughout the week until our next review for Moon Knight. So I'll definitely see you guys next Thursday. Until then, do me a big favor as always, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and keep it A+. Take care, guys. I'll talk to you later. Bye.